So welcome to the third video is the classification of phylum chordata. Now the phylum chordata is classified into three groups, three subphylums: Urochordata, Cephalochordata, and Vertebrata. And what is the basis of these classifications? The classification is based on the presence of notochord. In subphylum Urochordata, the notochord present only in the tail of larva only, not in the adult, hence called Urochordata. Uro means tail. So the notochord present the tail region, hence the name Urochordata. Remember one thing, only the larva possess the notochord, not in the adult. Next phylum is what? Subphylum 2 is the Cephalochordata, where the notochord persists from the tail to the head region. So throughout the body, we can see the notochord, hence called Cephalochordata, from tail to head region. The third one is what? Subphylum Vertebrata, where the notochord is replaced by the vertebral column. Now comes to the Urochordata. There are three classes under Urochordata: Larvaceae, Acidiaceae, and Thaliaceae. This is one example for Urochordata, which is called Acidia. Now Cephalochordata, one example is the lancelet or Amphioxus. In Cephalochordata, there are two genera under it, and Vertebrata, there are two superclasses are there, is called Agnatha and Gnathostomata. So the division has now been replaced by superclass Agnatha and superclass Gnathostomata is the old version of classification. Now the new version, the division is replaced by superclass. Agnatha means what? Gnatha means jaw. Agnatha means what? Jaw-less animals. Under that one class is the cyclostomata. Cyclo means what? Round. Stomata means opening. So it's called a round opening. So look at this. This is an example for what? Cyclostomata. The mouth is round in shape. Now gnathostomata means what? There is a stomata means mouth. Gnatho means what? Jaw. So there is a upper and lower jaw to guard the stomata opening. So this is called jawed animals. This is jawless animals. So under superclass Gnathostomata, there are 6 classes are there: chondrichthyes, osteichthyes, amphibia, reptilia, aves, and mammals. So 6 classes are there. So this is the classification of what phylum chordata, and this Urochordata and Cephalochordata commonly called the protochordata. Urochordata and Cephalochordata is commonly called what? Protochordata, because of its primitive character. Now moving on to subphylum Urochordata. In Greek word, Euro means what? Tail. Chord means what? Chord. So they are commonly called tunicate. These Urochord animals are commonly called what? Tunicate, because their body is covered by a polysaccharide, a covering called a tunicin. So this is called a tunicin. A tunicin is a type of polysaccharide that gives a covering. So it's also called a tusk. So why it is called a tunicate? Because the body is covered by a polysaccharide called tunicin, hence the name tunicate. They are mostly primitive marine chordates, mostly sedentary pelagic animals, but mostly sedentary animals. An important character of subphylum Urochordata is notochord is altogether absent in the adult, but present only in the tail of the larva, hence called Urochordata. The third important, you can see the picture here, the red color. So this is a larval forms of Tunicata. You can see the notochord which extends from the tail region. This is the tail region, and this is the head region. So the head region, there is no notochord. The notochord is not extending up to the head region, but only present in the tail region, hence called chordata. But this notochord is completely in adults. The notochord is completely absent. There is a neural ganglion. So in the larval stages, there is a well-developed nervous system. Dorsal tubular nerve cord is there. Just above the notochord, you can see a line here. A blue line is there from here. This one. So this extends from the head to the tail regions. But in adult, it is completely reduced and forms just like a point, just somewhere here. It's called a neural ganglion. So nervous system is developed in the larval stages, but in the adult, the nervous system is reduced to form a simple structure called a neural ganglion. The pharynx with numerous gill slits surrounded by another chamber called atria. The pharynx is provided with numerous gill slits for the respirations, and it is externally surrounded by another chambers called atria. Let's look at this picture. So this covering is called, this is an adult, which is fixed at the bottom, hence it is called sedentary, and it is called this foot. Now this covering is called what? Test, or it's made up of tunicin, tunica. Now this is a mouth, branchial aperture. It's called the branchial aperture, or simply called the mouth. The mouth is followed by buccal cavity. Then this is a large pharynx. This is a pharynx. The pharynx has numerous openings. So this is called pharyngeal gill slits. This is covered by a cavity. So there is a space between these tunicins and this pharynx. So this space is called what? Atrium. So this is an atrium, and it opens out through the atrial aperture. This is opens out through the atrial aperture. So the pharynx is surrounded by a cavity called atrium. Atrium simply means a cavity, and then opens out through the atrial aperture. So there are two openings is there. One is the branchial aperture, is called the mouth, and there is an atrial aperture for the atrium. Now the heart is simple and tubular. Very simple heart is there, and it is a tubular heart, and it periodically reverses the direction of the blood flow. The blood flow is constantly reverses its direction. So this is a unique feature of this animal kingdom. The blood flow is not in one direction. It flows in one direction for a shorter period, then it reverses again. So it changes the path in every 2 or 3 seconds. So that you can see in the coming video.
Tunicates, more commonly known as sea squirts, are the only animals that can reverse their blood circulation. Their tubular heart has two pacemakers which switch off, pumping the blood in different directions. Here we can see the heart pumping the blood left to right. And watch for the switch. Now you can see the heart pumping from right to left. Here we see the same happening. The blood is being circulated from right to left. Then circulation comes to a stop and starts again, but now in the opposite direction.
And next important character is what? Retrogressive metamorphosis. Retrogressive metamorphosis. Retrogressive is opposite is called progressive. That means a positive modification is called a progressive. The opposite is called what? Retrogressive metamorphosis. So the larva is with advanced features. Most of the organ systems are well developed in the larval stages. As it proceeds into the adult, most of the organ system get degenerated. So this is called a less organized adult. Clear? The larva is with most advanced features, but as it metamorphoses into adult, most of its character advanced features are lost and it become a less organized adult. So that condition is called what? Retrogressive metamorphosis. Losing advanced features is called retrogressive metamorphosis. The neoteny is another important character, or it is called pedogenesis. You heard about the pediatrician. Pedo means what? Is related with a child. So pedogenesis or neoteny means the larva attains sexual maturity and reproduce sexually. So this condition is called pedogenesis. The process of larva in the process in which the larva attain the sexual maturity and reproduce sexually, and this condition is called pedogenesis. And next one is the hermaphrodite. Reproduction takes place by asexually by budding and sexually by gamete formation. So both male and female are present on the same individual. Such animals are called hermaphrodite. And both type of reproduction is also present. Sexual reproduction is also there, and also sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction is also there. In the sexual reproduction, there is a free swimming larva called ascidian tadpole. So what is the larval stage of Urochordata? Urochordata larval stage is ascidian tadpole, which is seen here. So this is a ascidian tadpole.